Hi, hello, welcome back. We will be playing through chapters 7 and 8 of When the Night Comes. I've previously played through all of the beginning chapters. I believe you can find the VOD up on my up on Twitch and on YouTube, which is also Gray and Right there. And yeah, I'm very excited to dive back in. As a warning, this is a very spoiler heavy, uh, part of the game. So if you haven't played for yourself, I recommend absolutely checking it out. It's on itch.io and Steam. It is an absolutely fantastic game. It's one of my favorite games of all time, actually. And yeah, I'm super excited to dive right back in. From last we left off, we were passing out after a harrowing fight with the creature that has been terrorizing the town of Lunaris. Yeah, with that said, I think we'll dive right back into the stream.
Hunter? Hunter, snap out of it!
Voice of Harry. I coaxed myself out of my little daze, finding kind blue eyes staring at me. Unamused, kind blue eyes.
Are you quite finished daydreaming?
Young Harry and James are just so sweet. Wonderful. I smile at him because as much as Harry tries to be annoyed with me, he's adorable when he's angry. I am Major Eddington. Very sorry, sir. There's that little mouth twitch, an attempt to stifle a smile. I know him too well, and as humble as I try to be, Harold Addington III cannot resist me.
Stop that!
Stop what? I'm not doing anything. He sighs, loud, pitiful.
Yes, you are. You're looking at me like that. How many times do I have to remind you that I'm your superior, Hunter Lane?
I feign contemplation, just twisting the knife a little more, making him squirm. Oh, maybe a few more times might do the trick. We both laugh when he swats at my arm, but Harry is quick to straighten himself up, ever the professional.
I have an assignment, something out of town. It might take us a few days if we're lucky.
He looks at the papers that have deposited on his desk. A pretty sizable pile for a simple missive by the look of it. A little getaway, just the two of us? Harry rolls his eyes, scoffing.
If you consider hunting a rogue clan of witches romantic.
I do. Then he looks at me, eyes narrowed.
You do, don't you?
I shrug, stepping forward to push the papers from beneath his fingertips. I rest my hands upon his waist, crowding close until he has no choice but to sit upon the surface of his desk. Any time spent alone with you is a time that I cherish, my love. The flush that sweeps across his cheeks is charming as always, and when I lean in to brush his lips with my own, gone is the stiff formality of the forceful General Addington. In its place is the man that I love. My partner in all things. My soulmate. We're both in need of some time away from here, don't you think? Even if it does involve us being knee-deep in angry witches.
Sweet talk me some more, please. I don't know how I ever resisted you.
I raise an accusatory brow. You didn't. He huffs quietly, but my statement is irrefutable.
So smug.
Unconsciously, we both cast the door a glance. It's closed, and I lean in to lose myself in his kiss once again. It's very sweet and very sad, and it really does intentionally mimic, I believe, like that when you romance August, there are some direct parallels you can draw between James and Harry's relationship and Hunter's relationship with August. They say nothing lasts forever, but all that felt like to me was a lie told by people who never truly found love like I did. I knew that Harry was special when I first met him. We found a connection immediately, only to have it torn asunder when he failed the initiation. But even with an ocean between us, both of us sent on such different paths, we still found our way back to one another. 5 years, 10 years, 15. Partnership forged out of love, trust, and strength. We were unstoppable. I'd do anything for Harry, but in the end, that's why it all began to go wrong. You shouldn't leave, not right now. Your people need you. I need you.
I have little choice. Such meetings cannot be postponed. Do not pull the I need you card. Things are under control now, James. Besides, it's just a few days. I shall be back before you know it.
His smile is as bright as it's always been, but it doesn't reach his eyes. They are cold and tired. In a way, I can't help but blame myself for Harry's recent boldness. I've always encouraged him to think outside the box, to stop being so rigid when it comes to following the rules. Now, please, Harry, this has to stop. He averts his gaze, twisting his wedding band nervously. I know you think you're doing the right thing, but it's not worth it. None of this is worth it. I step closer, taking both of his hands in my own, tugging him to look at me. He refuses, still staring longingly out the window. I love you too much to let this destroy you. Think of everything you've achieved. Will you throw all of that away to make some numbers look good?
It's not about numbers, and you know it. It is about saving people's lives, about stopping those things from overwhelming us until we're nothing but...
He pauses, closing his eyes. Then he carefully pries his hands from mine.
It's about doing what I swore to do, fulfilling my duty as protector of this country, protecting you.
I can protect myself. Harry flinches at my words, exhaling sharply.
We will discuss this further upon my return, but I must go. The carriage will be waiting for me.
Do not share this, Harry. You're further away from perfecting it than you think, and you know it. At that, he smiles, shaking his head. He steps close to cup his hand to my jaw.
You've always underestimated me, my love.
He kisses me, and something about the way he does makes me believe it's for the last time. After Harry's departure, I sat at our kitchen table and wrote him a letter before my nightly patrol. I knew it wouldn't make it to him before his meeting. In fact, I wasn't even going to send it. I just had a feeling. My dearest Harry, as much as I'd love to muse about how I long for you to return, to lay with me in our bed, I'm afraid this letter comes with a less light-hearted message. I'm worried. These experiments are troubling me, and I've been unable to sleep soundly since you showed me last week. I fear something terrible will happen that we won't be able to hide, that you won't be able to recover from. Is this really what they cursed us all with all these years ago? I always knew we were different, that something within us made us stronger, but... Children, Harry. We were children. Think about that before you continue with this. Think about their intentions and why no one has attempted this before. I'll be leaving for a hunt this evening, missing you every step of the way. My power dulled without you standing strong by my side. All I ask of you is that you slow down. Perfect things before you dare to implement your plan. I'm not sure how much longer I can sit back and watch, just waiting for it to all go wrong. I love you, and I just want my husband back. We can make it through anything as long as we have each other. Always yours, James. The graveyard is peaceful, the air is cool, and the sky clear. The crunch of gravel under my boots is strangely comforting, and I feel a sense of calm washing over me as I stop in front of a newly placed headstone. I crouch down, tracing the carved letters with my fingertips. James Eddington Lane, brave hunter, loving husband, cherished friend. I haven't seen this yet. I stand, my vision blurring. There's a searing and familiar pain in my temple as I turn and see a tall figure before me, silhouetted by bright moonlight. They would put the hunter part first, wouldn't they? James steps closer, standing by my side, sparing his grave a glance. The second you become a hunter, it trumps everything else. You're not even really considered a human first anymore. Oh. Unsettling. that's always gotten me, because like, you know, you always have at least like 2 choices, but now you only get one. I look at James, studying his features, registering that he's here, flesh and bone and alive, or am I dead? He shakes his head. No, but you're somewhere in between, just like me, just like you. I look down and press my hand over my ribs, and it comes away crimson. My armor is jagged and torn, my clothes saturated with blood. When I look back at James, his brow is furrowed, and I see a shadow emerging from the blackened tree line behind him. A familiar sight, lumbering, shapen, not human. It's behind you. My words are monotone, though I intend for them to be a warning. My throat feels tight, and I'm once again struck where I stand. He shakes his head, ignoring the looming threat. His dark eyes focus on me, and me alone. It's not real. You killed him, after all. Him? You simply did what I couldn't, what I should have done. I froze. I was too afraid to hurt someone I knew. As a hunter, you know you cannot hesitate, cannot second death. Yes, if you do, people die. He's right. They teach us to be ruthless in our decisions. If it can kill you, you kill it first. It enthralled me. I thought that's how it got to you. He shakes his head. I saw. He pauses, mouth agape as if he wants to say it, but something stops him. You saved them, Gray. But your job isn't done just yet. I stare at him blankly, trying to comprehend where I am, why he's here, just everything. What did they do to us? He simply smiles. It's somber, almost pained. It's easier if I show you. I stare up at the familiar building that is now before me, a bitter taste blooming upon my tongue. I grew up here, learned how to kill here, how to survive. They promised us a world, said we'd be heroes. As a naive child, I might have even believed them, and yet, in reality, we're nothing but pawns. Feels different now, doesn't it? I was so excited to be chosen. Most of us are. They make it feel like passing the initiation is some sort of coveted honor. If not an honor, then what? James looked down at his hands, turning his palms skyward. I see scars, not unlike the ones that cover my own skin, and he looks back up. A curse. Suddenly, the sky turns an inky black. The moon is full, and the stars are sparse but bright. With a heavy sigh, James turns to me. Are you ready? Ready for what? To finally find out how the hunters are really made. I think back to the comment Finn made the other day, smiling to myself. I heard we grow on trees. James laughs. If only it were that simple, Gray. What do you remember of your initiation? I stared at him blankly, my memories non-existent past waking up in my bed the next day, feeling stronger, feeling different, feeling better. He tilts his head at me, smiling. As I suspected. They're very good at making you forget what they need to, aren't they? You would have been taken into the courtyard at night, right here where we stand, and they would have asked you to take your oath to pledge yourself to the cause. A witch would have offered you a vial of something, which they then expect you to ingest. I looked down at my hand, something cold appearing in my palm. A vial, just as James said. The liquid inside is black, viscous, and glowing. I remember. I think. They say that those that fail the experience experience a great discomfort, vomiting, convulsions, though it's still a mystery what makes us different from them. I uncorked the vial, bringing the mixture up to my nose. It smells bitter, like copper. That's not a good smell. I close my eyes, my heart pounding. Then the words roll off my tongue as if possessed. I swear that no night will be traversed in fear, that morning will be a promise and not a hope. I swear I shall lay down my life in the cause of my duty to protect the vulnerable from the creatures of this realm and any beyond it. Until my final breath, I pledge myself to you, body, mind, and soul. And I remember the way it tasted, the way it made me retch and fall to my knees. I dug my fingers into the dirt until they bled. My skin cracked and my nails split. It burned my throat, and my body fought hard to reject it, but I lost. When I opened my eyes, the vial was gone. Not dead, nor of not the living. Bind them and reveal them, the strength of the ascension. We summon you to reach your wizened hands to them. Let them be the vessel that will carry us onward. It is written that this power is our right to wield. Give to their body what separates man from the vulnerability of the flesh. Be that which might push the boundaries of our mortal coil. The blood of the vampire, creatures of the night, consumer of life, impart your keen awareness and resilience, but not be the shun of light or endlessness of life. The blood of the Fae, tricksters incarnate, denizens between realms, impart your cunning and agile grace, but leave your weakness to the elements. Blood of the demon, purveyors of evil, guardians of the realms, impart your strength, but not your anger. Blood of the lichen, predators under the moon, beasts of instincts, impart your primal power, but not the madness within. Blood. Why does it always have to be fucking blood? My hands shake, my breath quickening, and James watches me with a concerned gaze as the realization washes over me. I'm just like them. We all are. The things we were trained to kill are a part of us. They made us monsters. He nods, and I gather it's been a burden, knowledge that he's carried for far too long. Fight fire with fire, as they say. The simple human wouldn't stand a chance against the beast we face. The early hunters were true warriors who fought and died too quickly for us to stand a chance. An order was formed. People who had known of the creature's existence before the day of revelation. People who had befriended them, worshipped them even. They formed the agency, the first enforcers. They studied the way vampires can infect us, the way lichens can curse us. Simple biology. A touch of magic, and they have a carefully curated weapon on their hand. I do not know how long it took them to perfect it, and I dread to think how many lives were lost. And it was truly only a matter of time until someone took it too far. I just never thought it would happen in the place I called home. I look at him, and he waits expectantly, watching me with furrowed brow. Someone in Lunaris. Slowly, all the pieces begin to fall into place. Fiero, Alcar, Aya, Azazel. Creatures captured needlessly. Hunters missing and dying. Oh god. And also, if you saw the last stream, if you remember the two other creatures that were specifically named in the cell were a fae and a demon, along with Fiero. I need to go back. I need to find out who and how to stop them, to protect. I ball my fist in my hands, my heart a hammer in my chest, my head spinning. Something is wrong. James reaches out with wide eyes, but his hand passes through me. Breathe, Gray. My vision blurs, and I feel everything around me falling away into darkness. Something is calling out to me, a force pulling and tugging, violent in its desire to bring me back. James. He looks defeated, but he stands a little taller. Though he still smiles, and my heart aches for him. Our fallen hero, killed simply for being kind. You have so much left to do. It's not your time, not yet. Of all the wrong he's done, he did well in choosing you, Hunter Enright. You've made me proud, made all of them proud. It would have been such an honor to fight by your side. James stands stoic and stalwart. I'm not certain where I am, and yet he remains with poise, somewhere in between and still as strong as when he was living. Something tells me he's waiting. For what, I'm not entirely sure, but I hope whatever it is, he finds it. His peace, maybe. Tell Harry that I love him. Then, with a smile, he slowly fades away. I hear a quiet hum, maybe a song. My eyes feel heavy and I'm reluctant to open them, but when I do, I'm met with the sight of an ethereal, warm glow. I look up and see a shelf filled with plants and succulents, golden mage lights nestled among them. Then, through my wavering confusion, I smile because I know exactly where I am. I hear a lazy meow and carefully sit up and spot a familiar white cat curled up at my feet, staring at me with knowing eyes. Hello, Coco. Another quiet peep as she stands, stretches, and with a flick of her tail, she darts out of the open door. My limbs feel heavy, but not sore. It's as if I haven't used them for a while, and I panic, wondering exactly how long I've been cooped up in Ezra's bed. Hi. Oh, and just a quick note, we are doing the non-romance route. This scene in particular, partway through 7, is much different, based off of what road you're doing, as you kind of wake up with your love interest. But yeah, for non-romance route, you wake up among friends. Before I can even contemplate moving to find him, Ezra appears in the doorway with a tea tray in his hands.
Don't move. Let me check you over.
How long have I been out? He sets the tray down on the dresser and moves to join me upon the bed, already rolling up his sleeves like dancing about his fingertips. 2 days. He fixed me with a concerned glance, his eyes glowing dully as his hands hover over my torso. I feel a subtle tingle, and I quickly press a palm to the place where the creature had struck me. Ezra drops his hands, magic fading, and he watches me with a raised brow as I fumble beneath my shirt, feeling only soft, smooth skin.
They don't call me the best healer in Escria for nothing, you know. You're in good hands.
Thank God we have you, Ezra. I sighed a breath of relief, remembering the way my fingers had been slick with blood, and the unnerving, sickening dizziness that had washed over me before I passed out. A gut wound like that would have been a death sentence. Thank you, Ezra. He shrugs it off.
It was the least I could do for the person that saved us.
My gut twists because now I know it. I haven't saved the day at all. Not yet, anyway. I offer him a polite smile, sitting back against the pillow and basking in the feeling of being alive. You really confused us. There was no apparent reason for you to be out cold like that for so long, especially with your superior genetics. Well, actually, I think I have an explanation for that. His interest is obviously piqued, but as he opens his mouth to probe further, a loud knock rings out from down in the kitchen. He hops up, heading for the stairs. Hold that thought. I hear muffled, indistinguishable voices, a door slamming, and footsteps on the stairs. It's not Ezra who returns, though, but a smiling August and Piper instead. Hi. Well, look what the Chimera dragged in. The hero of the week. I told you a flesh wound isn't enough to keep this sucker down, dear Augustus. It's good to see you awake. They've been terribly antsy. Piper rolls her eyes in August's directions, then inelegantly flops on the bed beside me, sprawled out on the once neat pile of fluffy cushions. August watched her with barely disguised disdain, but I can see the smile in their eyes, a fondness that wasn't there before that tells me my little reconciliation mission was a success. General, thank you for helping me. I couldn't have done it without you.
I merely assisted. You did all the hard work, and an admirable job indeed. Are you feeling better?
I take a little longer to answer than they anticipate, I suspect. I might feel better in body, but in my mind, clouded. I feel fine, but I need to tell you both some things. Things, Sounds bloody ominous. When I don't smile, both their faces fall. Right. I had a dream. Maybe something more, I suppose, but I saw James and it felt so real. Like he was right there in front of me. Pepper's eyes look sad and she averts her gaze. August reaches for her, but thinks better of it, letting their hand fall back to their side. Go on. We'll start with the initiation. We'll get it out of the way. I saw the academy. My academy. James took me through our initiation. I'd forgotten everything, almost as if my memory had been wiped.
Because that's exactly what happened. There's no other explanation, unless they thwacked us on the head for good measure after whatever the hell they did to us.
Hopefully not. We were like 12. I carefully gauge their reaction as my next words spilled from my mouth. The ritual, I take a deep breath. They fed us blood. Vampire, demon, lichen, fae. That's what made me, makes all of us what we are. Piper's hands are shaking, and she balls them into tight fists, her knuckles bleeding white. You what? I think you must be mistaken. That can't. August does reach for her then, a careful but firm hand resting upon her shoulder. Piper. She takes a deep breath, her eyes closed, and she exhales.
Sorry. I just suppose I always had an inkling, you know? The things we can do. The way that we're so connected to all of that abnormal shit. In tune with it. With them.
It almost makes sense. When August is sure Piper has calmed, they remove their hand, dragging it over their face with a ragged sigh.
How could I have been so stupid? What else would it possibly be? I foolishly thought it was magic, some silly spell they'd cast on you. Keeping such a thing secret seemed to make sense to me, because can you imagine if they got into the wrong hands?
Bestie, I think it already has. I never even questioned it, and Harry, a single tear trails. Oh, no, they're crying now. A single tear trails their cheek, and August quickly swipes at it with a shaking hand, only to be betrayed when another takes its place.
I'm so sorry. I'm sorry they did that to you.
It will take some time for me to process, but what's done is done.
I mean, it would have just been nice to have a choice in the matter. I'm sure some would love the thought that we're part monster, but to do that to children who don't know better, it's...
Cruel. It's cruel.
Yes. This information is dangerous. August nods, their expression stoic. It is, and we need to be careful with who we share it with. James heavily implied that. I pause. If it is who I think it is, the implications could be beyond terrifying. And as someone who cares deeply for the people who stand before me, I dread uttering the words. Someone in Lunaris is causing all of this, and I think I know who. August closes their eyes tight, and Piper falls silent. My heart breaks for August, knowing how close they are, too. This won't be pretty.
Don't say it. I know, but not yet.
I saw Harry and James together, as if James was trying to tell me something by showing me pieces of his memory of them. They were so happy. It was such an easy, mutual admiration and affection. They both smile, and August's eyes light
They
up.
were happy. James was a kind man, a brave hunter. He brought out the best in Harry.
James was the best mentor I have ever dreamed of having. He shared his knowledge so freely and made me feel at home when I was just a scared kid. I miss him so much.
I turn their smiles at the sentiment, but again the jarring truth comes back like a whiplash. He wrote Harry a letter that night he died. James asked him to think about what he was doing. August tenses, brow furrowing, and their shoulders slump in defeat. Are you sure this was all really James, not some trick of the mind? August. I smile sadly, and August looks embarrassed to have suggested such a thing. Sorry, I cannot comprehend it. James holds a lot of guilt over what happened, over him not killing the creature when he had the chance. He hesitated, and you and I both know that isn't something hunters can afford to do.
Hesitation means death.
I nod, remembering James' word, his disappointment in himself. The thing that killed him, or the person that killed him, he knew them. That's why he hesitated. That's why he died. I could almost see the cogs turning in both of their minds, the realization washing over them as it did me. We stand in silence, all of us processing this information. The three of us are arguably the ones that this affects the most. We all have a personal connection to this. Piper and I have been poisoned, practically cursed, and August has to face the fact that the person who they hold in such high regard might not be all that they seem. So, what next? What do we do with this? Where do we even bloody start? Did anything happen while I was out? Harry is still absent, though I've not heard any word of him leaving town. The clan and I rescued Pharaoh from the dungeons. It was easy. Too easy. And Finn said they haven't even bothered to come looking for him, even though they're obviously quite aware of what happened to him. They know that we're onto them. August sighs again, pinching the bridge of their nose. Quite possibly, yes. The attack on the town was a mess. I had many enforcers dismissed for their lack of action. So it's plausible I might have weeded out some who would be acting against us, or for, you know. To me, it feels like whatever plan has been concocted is falling apart and they're just sitting back and watching the wreckage burn. But the most glaring question is, why me? Why bring me here in the first place? We should let you get some rest. Piper scoffs, immediately lightening the mood when she prods my arm with a firm finger. Rest? They've been asleep for 2 fucking days. They hardly need rest. Piper, please. Language. Piper does an incredible job of mimicking them, albeit a little squeakier. Very well. We'll leave you be, I guess.
Come and see me first thing in the morning. Be safe. It's good to see you well again.
Don't cause any more trouble now, though, will you? Piper winks at me, nudging August with her shoulder as they both turn and head for the door. I smile as I watch them leave, but the second that door closes, I feel numb. I need to pay someone a visit. The graveyard is as quiet as it was in my dream, vision, whatever the hell it was. I almost expect James to emerge from the tree line, but it would appear I truly am alone this time. I seek it out, crouching down in the dirt. James Addington Lane, brave hunter, cherished friend, loving husband. I'll put an end to all of this, I promise you. I thought I was the only one who came here to talk to graves in the dead of night. I jump, spinning to find a familiar pair of fangs grinning back at me. Hi. Sorry, didn't mean to startle you. Glad to see you up and about. Ezra made me watch over you a little when he had to pop out. Oh. That's sweet. Oh, well, thank you. He laughs. Just doing as I'm told. How are you? I exhale sharply, gesturing towards the tombstone. Well, I am out here talking to a grave, so I've been better, I guess. Fair. Can't say I expected to find you here, but then nothing is really unusual in this town anymore. He steps forward, stopping at my side. He looks down at James' grave and sighs, biting his bottom lip. He was a good man, a trustworthy man. If you're still hearing him, then I don't think you need to question his intentions. I nod, appreciating the advice. Some part of me wants to think it's all a lie, but as Finn said, James is a good man. I know, but that doesn't mean I want to believe what he tells me. Finn hums, tipping his head skyward, the moon casting his face in a pale glow. Truth can be a real fucking nightmare. Anyway, I've got a handsome witch to visit, so I assume you need a good night's sleep? Don't stay in the dark for too long, Hunter. Nasty things out there. I laugh at that, rolling my eyes. Of course. Good night, then. With a deep breath, I gather my thoughts, a cool breeze rustling the trees, sending a shiver skittering down my spine. I bend down and pluck a small rock from the grass and place it atop James's headstone. Thank you. The next few days feel surreal as I relayed my encounter with James to those who most needed to hear. Yeah. The revelations were met with both shock and horror, but mostly anger. Unsurprisingly, we all found ourselves with the very same question heavy on the tip of our tongue. Why? I can't deny that the world we live in is a terrifying and uncertain one, but it's all that I know, all that I have ever known. Finn tells me that even before the Revelation Day, there were unexplained disappearances, murder, grisly things found but never spoken of. And Revelation Day was the day that the wide population of humans learned of the existence of creatures that lurk in the night. It happens at least, I don't know, sometime in the last 600 years, because that's how old Finn is. Corruption is inevitable in organizations such as this one, but for something so profound and nefarious to be going on right under our noses, I can't help but wonder if the ends justify the means in this little scheme that started with the brain of our leader. The cost is so high, the loss is vast and heartbreaking, and exactly when does it end? When does the line get drawn? When the divide between right and wrong is so very blurred? Would it have been safer for all of us to live in ignorant bliss all this time, or would they have overrun us eventually anyway? Maybe, but these are the cards we've been dealt, and Harold Addington has a dirty hand. I'm still biding my time, trying to gather any final scraps of information while I wait for word that Harry has reappeared. As I do most days now, I walk the town from one end to the other. The Norris is easy to patrol, small as it is, and the townsfolk seem almost relieved when I pass by. The enforcers have become such a suffocating presence here lately, and every time I encounter one, I can't help but feel I'm being watched. Are they all in on this? I find myself in the woodland at the edge of the graveyard. The sun shining, but the air crisp and cold. The grass crunches beneath my boots, and I see a path of destruction as I walk into an open clearing. Anyone else would be alarmed to see the destruction I find, would like to suspect a creature had been the one to carve jagged welts into the trunk of trees, but I know what caused this, and it was certainly no creature. I find her a little further in, kneeling in the dirt, her head bowed. Beside her are two pieces of what was once a training staff cracked down the center. I approach quietly, and when she looks up, I see a blankness in her eyes, her expression sour. Piper. She forces a smile, her chest heaving with labored breath, sweat slicking her flushed skin. Gray. She held herself on the ground, kicking aside the splintered wood with a grunt. Then she retrieves two intact staffs from a bag nestled in a pile of overgrown grass and holds it out to me. I know you've come to talk about deep shit, so how about you humor me and let me kick your ass while we're at it? I keep my gaze fixed on hers as I take one of the staffs from her. So cocky. Piper shrugs, nonchalant, and definitely cocky. You know I'm right. Our staffs meet with a solid thwack, those sapphire eyes meeting me head-on as Piper lunges forward with a grin. She's hyper-focused, strong, and I match her blow for powerful blow with ease. Why are you out here? There's a training room back at headquarters. Piper rolls her eyes, wiping sweat from her brow with the back of her hand.
The less I'm around those traitorous idiots, the better. I cannot hold my tongue as well as most, you see.
She launches herself forward again. I have to step back a few paces when she pushes against the pressure of our crossed weapons. I lose my purchase against the muddy forest floor, skidding, and then she's drawing back, swinging again and again. Shit. I'm used to one-to-one comment, used to the intricacies of it, but Piper's no creature, and it's been a hell of a long time since I sparred with one of my own kind. Her staff makes a solid arc towards my leg, and in a vain attempt of darting out of her way, I find myself falling in an inelegant sprawl. The world tumbles until it reorients itself when I land on my back, my head tilted back to see Piper standing above me with a far too smug smile on her face. The hilt of her staff just barely grazes the arc of my very exposed throat, and I weigh out my options very carefully. Gotcha. Yeah, we'll attack. I seize the moment, taking advantage of her smug satisfaction. I swing upward with my staff, the angle terrible, but not entirely useless as it serves its purpose, hitting hers out of her hands. I jump up, brushing the dirt and leaves and whatever other crap lives in the Livarian forest from my trousers, watching as Piper holds up her hands to the feet, her chest heaving. She eyes her staff, but it's too far away for her to reach. Do you yield? Piper steps closer, taking my weapon in her hands and shoving. She scoffs, but her tone is playful and she responds.
You got lucky.
I laugh at her and she drops her hands, playtime over. She pauses, eyeing me warily. So, what did you actually come here for then? You've been avoiding me. You have to talk to me, Piper. Piper purses her lips, averting her gaze. She has been actively staying clear of me since the day I woke up, but I've been giving her space and respected that things I divulge would be too difficult for her to swallow. But as time drags on, we draw closer to a point where we'll have to face all of this corruption. And well, I need Piper, the only other hunter I can bring myself to trust, but most importantly, my friends. It's almost time, you know. At least, I hope. She pokes the dirt with the toe of her boot, as wonderfully defiant as she always is. I know. Want to get it over with, right?
He'll crawl out of whatever hole he's scurried into, and everything will burn.
Her eyes are fierce and bright when she finally dares to meet my gaze. Not everything. What he's done. She scoffs again, anger rolling off of her in messy waves that break over me, almost leaving me breathless. If I have to kill her, if she became what Azazel did...
I will tear the enforcers to the ground to avenge her if I have to.
You better have a really good fucking explanation for all of this, you know? Oh. Alright, now we reach the portion of the game that kind of determines your ending, basically. So we're just gonna make a save here for no reason in particular, but I definitely thought about doing, you know, the doing the I don't want to say evil ending, or you know, just the sympathetic ending, sympathize instead of condemn. But we will be condemning Harry's actions. Nothing could excuse it. How could he? He's killed people, his own people. His husband, indirectly, but still. Imagine that. I can't imagine it. But also, it's a very quick note. The very first time that I play this, I accidentally almost caught the quote-unquote bad ending. Where, you know, spoilers, you join Harry and you like sympathize with his views because I didn't know what was coming, you know. And sometimes I've encountered in visual novels that sometimes you have to like do the opposite of what maybe you're expected to. So I thought, okay, maybe with sympathizing, maybe I'll get, you know, different information and stuff. And you do kind of with that, but mostly you just end up hurting all of your friends and the people around you. Oh, which is not fun. But then, you know, we turn it back at the tide and got to course correct right at the end. But yeah, my first ever playthrough of this, I did sympathize just because I was like, well, maybe I'll just need to hear him out, you know, like we don't know what's going on like fully. But yeah. Also, the trees are, or the eyes are still there. They're still there. They're carved in. You're watching. Trees are watching. I think about how desperate he must have been to do such a thing. To now have to live with that terrible consequence. It's unfathomable, and he'll pay for it. Fucking right he will. Then her shoulders slump and she slowly looks around at the mess she's made of the clearing. I should go. I need to clear my head in a way that doesn't involve beating the shit out of trees. Or me. Or you. I'll see you around, yeah? Without so much as a second glance, Piper turns and disappears into the forest. I understand why she's hurting so much, and I just wish I could help. And speaking to Harry, maybe I can. I approach the Ibex with the same level of caution and awareness as I always do, even though I'm quite well acquainted with its habitats. Hi. Interesting little scar you have there. I wonder where you got it from. There's a young woman at the doors who straightens when I approach. Something in that single movement, not to mention her attire and the pistols. Oh yeah, I forgot she has a gun. I don't know. I don't know why, like, guns in fantasy is hilarious to me, but it is. I love it. She's like, I'm gonna shoot demons with a gun. And I respect that. Very Quincy Morris of her. Something in that single movement, not to mention her attire, and the pistols that decorate her holster suggests a trained fighter. But when she meets my eyes, there's only curiosity there, not wariness. I remember Harry mentioning a guard that works at the Ibex sometimes. Lux, or Raven's partner. Perhaps this is her. Hunter Enright, I assume? I nod, offering her a small smile. She praises me for a moment, and then her wariness fades. She sticks out a hand with great enthusiasm and grins from ear to ear when I take it. Oh, it's nice to finally meet you. Likewise, may I enter? She inclines her head and steps aside, arms crossed. I'm not going to stop you. I give her a polite nod and move along, able to feel her eyes on my back until the door swings shut and spares me from her attention. Also, 2 notes. You have a different interaction with her if you are romancing Finn, because you get to meet her. She actually walks in on you while you are getting up for the day in Finn's bed, either on his solo route or with him and Ezra. And yeah, you get to meet her then, so it's a little bit of a variation on that interaction. It's cold inside, even though it's daytime. The place is just as dilapidated as it was when I first visited, but towards the altar at the end, it seems like someone has been cleaning up. The floor is swept, a crimson cloth covers the altar, and seated upon it with her boots swinging, attention firmly fixed on what looks like an embroidery hoop, is Elaine. Hey girly. I wait a moment before approaching to give her some time to notice me, but her eyes and hands remain focused on her task. Eventually, I give up and just go up to her. She likely knows I was coming from down the street anyhow, if she's anything like most demons I've encountered. Sure enough, there's no surprise in Elaine's brown eyes when she looks up at me, smiling warmly and setting her project aside. Hello, Hunter Enright. I stop and blink, and Elaine frowns immediately, pressing a finger to her lips. There's a mellowness to her aura that doesn't put me at ease as he does, but as Elaine peers at me with open amused interest, I can't put it into words, but somehow I think I know why. I heard you encountered the creature. Yes, I did. Did Omen tell you? Elaine shakes her head, then shrugs. I'm sorry though, Gray. I take it you saw your kin in that chimera? This time, it's definitely a chill that runs down my spine. How did you know? I've heard her crying. I found its presence strange. I didn't investigate, though. Elaine covers her mouth with her hand, her brow furrowed as she stares at the red cloth beneath her seat. I didn't think it was your target. It was sad, not dangerous. You heard it cry? When? A little while ago now. It was a very sad thing. If it were once human, I quickly put a hand to my lips. No one knows that detail yet, aside from those I've told, and Lux is just outside the door. Elaine blinks at me slowly, calmly. She tilts her head to the left, then to the right, sizing me up. Then she exhales. Is that disappointment or sadness that I sense? Are you looking for Omen? There's a distinct and a comfortable feeling that the more I talk to Elaine, the more likely she'll get upset. That feeling is accompanied by the gut-deep knowledge that the princess is not like the prince. She wears a human glamour as firmly as easily as Omen does, and their eyes have that same kind cast. But she looks at me like a demon looks at a mortal, and I don't know if I want to see the version of me that's reflected in her eyes. Not now. Not with Harry and what he's done weighing on my soul like a stone heart burden. Yes, do you know where he is? Stay here. Elaine hops off, grabs her embroidery hoop, and ducks into one of the side rooms. As the last flash of her tail vanishes, the front of the temple also changes. Clean, swept stone floor becomes dusty and cobwebby again, save the imprint of her boots on the ground. The altar returns to its dusty state, and the red clone thrown over it is just straight up evaporates. An illusion. I didn't even notice. I didn't even sense there was anything wrong with this large swath of the room. That's not good. Before I can dwell on too much on how Elaine managed it, a familiar figure emerges. Oh my god. I'm sorry, your sister is terrifying. Omen gives me a once-over as he approaches, and the expression on his face is sincerely, almost insultingly
You
sympathetic.
didn't come to pray.
No, I didn't. He looks at me again, tail swaying gently. I want to tell him my purpose myself so he won't have to guess, but the words don't come out. Because I don't know. At this point, I'm just wandering aimlessly, trying to kill time to avoid the inevitable. Elaine is gone, but I don't know what I can tell Omen that I haven't already, and I don't know if I can put the questions I really have for him, for anyone, into proper words. Gray, my sister told me you were looking for me. Something like that. Yeah. I study Omen for a moment. Compared to Elaine, he's closer, maybe even truly comfortable around me. But I shouldn't forget he's not one of us. I must apologize. Owen blinks and then inclines his head. The words come out of nowhere. Even I'm not so sure that it was wise I've let them out, but he doesn't seem surprised.
Whatever you want to apologize for, it's not necessary. I caused a disturbance when I came here. That much I can't deny. All to be free from my father. I thought that only I would suffer the consequences, not that it would affect others so severely. I was a fool. Powerful things always break something else when they attempt change.
You're not responsible for the things Harry did.
Thank you for saying that. Still, I put this trouble before him. Maybe he wouldn't have been driven to these means otherwise.
I frown at him, not because I completely disagree with him, but because it does make me wonder. I've rarely had a chance to converse with a being so old. Demons, in particular, have always existed closely to human history. Would it matter if you hadn't, and he didn't? Or wouldn't it have because this is what he's capable of regardless? Owen blinks slowly, his head tilted in that almost unnatural way. He folds his hands and studies me for a moment, then looks at some point past my head. There's a faraway look in his eyes that makes me think he's reminiscing, and what I wouldn't give to be able to read his mind.
I think you ask a question meant for a hunter. You destroy creatures when they hurt others, but you must know that all creatures are capable of harm and of evil. Is it wiser for you to kill someone because of its potential to do harm, or kinder for you to not bet its life on your fear? Either way, I don't think this is what you really want to know.
That's for me to decide. He's no longer smiling, but there's something in his eyes that's less speculative now and more like respect.
My sister and I have friends in this town, people we love in this town. We have things to lose. You have my promise to help when you need it, and I have faith that you'll make the right choice, whatever your definition of right is.
Are you not worried my definition will be different from what you hoped?
Maybe, but I'm sure you'll do whatever you think best. I think you're kind, and if you weren't, maybe you would have hurt less about all of this.
Thank you. Omen tilts his head this way, then that, contemplative.
Few seek the advice of a demon. Fewer take it seriously. I wonder if it's fate that I'm here. This place has taught me so many things.
You're a prince of demons. Wouldn't you know?
I would need much older eyes to see something so vast. My father would know. Perhaps it's why he doesn't understand why I love your kind. Your fragile, flowing world. Your lives so short they could be measured by seasons, as I do.
As Alker puts it, it's his fucking loss. I have to snort a laugh hearing that word spill from his mouth. Definitely Alker's influence. Damn right. But it tricks you, right? Like, after that speech, it's like, you want to try and see where he's coming from. But no, I guess we'll confront him. It's the right thing to do. I'll have to confront him soon as he shows his face. We can't allow this to continue. No, it can't.
It won't be easy. I'd rather you not have to stand before him on your own, with no backup.
I suspect August will be present. They need closure more than I do. I don't think you should do anything anyway. If you're sure, I'm sure. Harry is an old, wily soldier. I'd rather not confront him with him knowing that I have your ear, if he doesn't know of our involvement already. But I won't do it unprepared. You have my word. I should go. Shaking my head, I step away, and then turn and head for the door. Suddenly, the church feels too oppressive. I have to get out to clear my head. Think. Though, I know with a faint feeling of dread which way my choice might lead. I feel Omen's eyes on my back until the door closes. Alker's waiting for me outside the temple. Much to my lack of surprise, I've had the sense he'd been keeping an eye on me more than usual since the encounter with the creature. My thanks. 4. I might have been convinced that I was mistaken, if not for the pout and the defiance on his face. Stifling a grin, I raised my hands and a gesture for peace instead. No need to poke the sensitive wolf today. Oh, sweet. He cares about you. He wants you to be okay, Hunter. Waiting for me. I take it you want to talk?
Assuming a hell of a lot, aren't you? But you're right enough. You're about the only exciting thing left in this goddamn town.
What about the demon inside the church? And the hole. He gestures vaguely in my direction, and I can't quite get his meaning. I'm not entirely sure Alker himself knows, because the expression on his face is one I can't read. One of the many things I've learned about the half-lycan is either he won't lie or he's hellishly bad at it. It reminds me of the folk stories of wolves as betrayers and deceivers. Even now, and not just surrounding Alcar, I wonder if those who told the folklores mistook wolves for foxes, or for their neighbors. Maybe their boss. The whole debacle. Yeah, that. Pause, almost awkward.
So, listen. I'm no good with the whole emotional thing. That's what Ezra's here for.
Ezra's here to handle all your feelings for you? Is that it?
No, he just self-expresses better is all. Makes the sentimental shit sound more natural, not so awkward and weird. Anyway, I just wanted to ask if you're doing okay.
So sweet. Oh. I appreciate the effort you took to arrive at that question.
What do they say? Effort shows affection or something?
Everything is a mess, I suppose. I'm not just gonna let all of what we learned, go if that's what you're worried about.
I didn't think you would. In fact, I trust that you won't. I know you're gonna try to do something about this mess.
Something probably dangerous. Or if you won't, they'll force you into it. He says it with such bitterness, with such certainty that I know immediately the sentiment must have come from personal experience. I'll do my utmost to prove them unnecessary. I won't be caught dead by anyone else saying this, but if you do, I'd appreciate that. I'm sure you would. Then he inhales deeply, lets it out slow. So, humor me. What are you up to? The other one is heartbreaking. You just slowly break your friends' hearts one by one. I look away. Every time someone asks this, every time I ask myself the same question, I hope the answer would become easier by now. That I'd be sure, but it changes almost by the minute. I'll confront him. I'm a general, and though he's my superior, I stop there. Alfred has been remarkably upfront with me about everything, despite his original warning not to trust anyone in this town, including himself. That doesn't mean Hunter's business is for his 4 ears. Oh yeah, he has 4 ears, and it's very cute. I think it's adorable. He's a half-lycan, and he gets cute little wolf ears and normal human ears, because I think it would look very strange without his little human ears. It would not suit him. All the better to hear you with. That's an old, easy excuse. In truth, it's more that I don't want to say the words. Make them real. That's rough, buddy. Girlfriend turned into the moon. I'm sorry. Should you be? He dragged you into this knowing full well you were just an easy blame for something he's explicitly done. Yeah, he sure fucking did. And he won't catch me red-handed doing the same thing. Blaming people not part of his pyramid of shit. Anyway, that's good. Figured so, but it'll give me some peace of mind. At least it'll actually fucking happen. What would you have done if I said I understand where he came from inside with him? The possibility is ridiculous, but my curiosity burns, stings. As if we're already ass deep in this tense talk, what's one more match to the flames? Then you would have been what I expected. I have no faith in hunters save maybe 2 or 3, and that won't change with your stellar example. From me to you, thanks.
Well, I'd better go and put more drinks on somebody else's tab before this town starts missing me.
Tell me you aren't trying to drain Finn's wealth within your lifetime.
Oh, I wouldn't worry. I broke into the catacombs once just to see how rich our man is. And he's loaded. It's not like the treasure would sit there and marinate if you don't spend it.
Damn. Right. You could pay taxes. Pay taxes to your boss. He has a point there. Finn is committing tax evasion. I have an appointment to catch with my enforcer anyway. Wow, I'll pray for you. Thank you. With a laugh and a shake of his head, Alcor shoves his hand deep into his pockets and ambles away towards the tavern's direction. I wait till he's out of sight before heading my own way. Go your own way. The sun shyly disappears beyond the horizon as I step into the magic shop, passing what I assume to be Ezra's final customer for the night with a smile. He looks exhausted when I catch his eye from across the counter, but he still smiles warmly when I approach. You look tired. So do you. Ezra huffs a quiet laugh, and Coco peeps loudly at him, appearing from between his feet with her usual attitude. He rolls his eyes before looking down at the feline, raising a dark brow at her almost accusingly. No, absolutely not. She chirps at him in return, and I swear she almost looks angry. I'm sorry? Sorry, it's nothing. Then he gently nudges Coco with a foot, and with a defiant flick of her tail, she darts through the purple curtain into the back room. She probably wants treats. Cats, eh? He picks up a pile of books stacked by the cash register and inclines his head for me to follow him. I oblige, watching as he pops each one back in its rightful place.
How was your day? You feeling okay?
He turns, eyeing my side, knowing full well his magic healed me perfectly, and yet still finding the time to worry for me. Though unconsciously, I still press a hand over the place where the wound once lay, an almost phantom ache settling deep in my ribs. As my body is aware that there should be something there. Physically, I'm fine. The last book gets pushed between its shelf mates, and Ezra turns to face me fully, concern etched upon his face.
Just physically?
You need to figure this out before everyone gets hurt. I clear my throat, offering him a close smile. I just feel like I'm in limbo with the whole Harry situation. I'm supposed to be on my way to see August right now, and yet you can't bring yourself to go. I shake my head, letting my hand fall numbly to my side. Still, I fight to keep the true extent of my worry off my face, pretending that the hurt, bitter undercurrents of the knowledge I was burdened with don't leave me feeling nauseous. For now, the only thing I can do is be honest and try to be strong. For them. For all of them. No, I can't. Ezra smiles at me, an almost sympathetic edge to it. I do hope he isn't pitying me, but then Ezra is so very kind that I can't view it as anything other than innocent. Come, let me make you some tea. I nod, actually thinking how I could very much do with a cup of something warm to clear my head right now. I'd like that, thank you. So sweet. Ezra fills the kettle, placing it upon the stove, and stepping towards me as he begins to whistle quietly. Also, this scene in Ezra's routes, whenever you're romancing him, is very good. I'm pretty sure this is the scene. Yeah, because I don't remember where else it would happen. I don't know. There's a scene where, he's boiling the kettle and you guys get to make out. It's very cute. So, I assume Gus will be with you when you meet with Harry? If so, I imagine you and that will be more than capable of handling anything he tries to throw at you. And I've been meaning to ask, if you don't mind, of course. Oh, sorry, good drink. He stares me down with those wide, wise eyes. How are you going to approach him exactly? I mean, you've had time to process all of this. A little, anyway. I will end this. Sorry about that. I bite my lip, almost wanting to hold back the rage I feel broiling and bubbling in my chest. The things Harry has done, the things the enforcers have done. Centuries of pain and suffering, tearing children from their families and turning them into monsters. I'll put a stop to this. Finish it once and for all. He reaches for me across the table, taking my hand in his own and holding it tight.
You'll be careful, won't you? Promise me that.
I study him for a long minute, wanting to respond immediately and with conviction, but I'm unsure of what I might come to face. I'll do my best. We sit in silence for a little while longer, only to have it broken by a quiet tap, tap, tap. I look around, then down, realizing it's coming from underneath the floor. Ah, of course, Finnegan. Ezra beams when I look at him, and it pleases me to see them so happy once again. We both stand, and Ezra reaches to unlatch the lock that keeps the opening to the catacombs locked, while I pull back the rug that covers it. When golden eyes appear in the darkness, I feel a chill roll down my spine. He immediately goes to Ezra, drawn to him like a moth to a flame, and he presses a quick chest kiss to his lips. Hello, Angel. Oh. Forgot that was his nickname for him. It's very cute. Also, one of the first times that I played, I used a hunter. I just wanted a name for my hunter. When I was sort of finishing up some of the other routes in there, and I named that kind of like Hunter Angel, because I was like, oh, this is kind of cute or whatever. And let me tell you, when it first kind of came up there, it took me so off guard because I was kind of playing them in tandem while the chapters were still releasing, and you don't learn that that's the name that Finn calls Ezra until like chapter 7, I think. And yeah, the absolute whiplash I got was very funny. They lace their fingers, standing close, and Finn turns his attention to me.
I came as soon as I sensed you were here.
Thanks, bestie. Gray is on their way to see August. Finn crinkles his nose at that, apparently unimpressed.
I was hoping I could steal you away for a little while, actually. Not for anything nefarious. Fierro simply longs to speak to you.
Listen, anything to delay the inevitable. Oh? Does he have any more information? He shrugs.
I'm not sure. He's not exactly a man of many words. If he's asked for you, then I'd take it that he has at least something to tell you.
He definitely isn't just wanting a friendly chat, that's for sure.
Damn, I'll take a friendly chat. I see. Well, considering I'm still avoiding going to see August, we could go now? Excellent. Ezra clears his throat, his lashes dipping as he squeezes Finn's hand. His prosthetic comes alive, flickering in kind. You'll return? I always do, don't I? Ezra's quiet laugh is infectious, his eyes crinkling at the corners. He exudes happiness. You do. Oh, they're so cute. Come then, Gray. Into the hole you go. Ezra and I both look at him with blank expressions, and Finn merely rolls his eyes, sighs, and ushers me onwards. We say goodbye to Ezra, watching as we descend into the depths of the catacomb tunnels. A shadowy figure waits for us outside Finn's quarters, and I smile when I see a shock of white hair and friendly, crimson eyes. Hi. Hunter Enright, it's a pleasure to see you again. It's good to see you too, under better circumstances this time. If I look hard enough, I swear I can see his mouth twitch. Fierro studies me with a certain intensity for a moment, and I feel a strange sense of calm washing over me, but he frowns. Blink and you'll miss it type thing, but I see it before his face falls into that carefully calculated stoicism. I will not keep you long. I just wanted to thank you for finding me. I owe you a debt of gratitude for assisting with my extraction. I gather you'll be meeting with the Lieutenant General soon? I swallow thickly. My throat tight all of a sudden. There it is again, that uncertainty, that funny feeling, that push and pull of conflicting emotions that swirl in my guts and almost suffocates me. I nod a little too quickly, and though Fierro doesn't show it, I know he can feel my unease. I will be, yes, whenever he decides to show his face. Finn scoffs at that, leaning against a jagged stone wall with the perfect kind of handsome nonchalantness not many can achieve.
If he ever decides to again. If I was him, I'd have left town the second the first body turned cold.
Listen, be glad he didn't, so we get a chance to confront him. Fierro continues to watch me, his stare unwavering. Well, the sooner the better. I'd quite like for all this to be over. Indeed. Sorry, my cat's making funny noises. Finn nudges him with his elbow, and Fiyero barely shifts, holding himself like some kind of ancient statue in almost unnerving stillness. Tell him what you saw in the dungeons before you were rescued. Tell them what you saw in the dungeons before you were rescued. There was a lot of commotion down there the night we killed the creature. They were unorganized, clearly distressed. I watched carefully, and I saw something strange. A hunter, or what once was a hunter. Now I'm not so sure. I pale at the thought, remembering the way the creature looked at me as it lunged, teeth bared, and the way that my body told me I was fighting one of my own before I ended its life. His life. It was female, of that much I'm certain. She was wailing all night after they shoved her back into one of the cells. They must have been in a rush because they certainly weren't as cautious in hiding her as I had been before. She's more whole than the other one, but whatever they've done to her, she's too far gone, driven mad, feral even. I've never felt anything quite like it. An impossible flurry of pain and confusion, mostly anger. No. Finn steps forward, seeing the way my eyes widen and my hands begin to shake. I can't face another. Gray. I look at Finn, noting his concern over the way my heart lurches in my chest. I nod at him, exhaling a sharp breath to refocus. You're sure? The quiet vampire nods, his lips purse into something that looks like an attempt at a grimace. I am certain, but I am also sorry. It's fine. It's expected, actually. Just hurts to hear to have it confirmed. I nod. We will not let you face it alone. You will never be alone. Fiyero shares a look with Finn before nodding his agreement. I believe you now. Thank you, Fiyero. He offers us the bow as Finn pushes open the door to his quarters, making a beeline for the carafe. Don't know how to pronounce that. Carafe of scotch upon his desk. Fiyero casts me a final lingering glance before he disappears into the darkness. I can't help but feel like he sensed something in me he didn't like, but whatever it was, I'm unsure. Again, some variation of the dialogue if you are romancing Finn. I close the door to his quarters, finding him sitting upon his bed, 2 glasses of his favorite poison clutched in his hands. Would you like one? Looks like you could use it. Yeah. I pry the crystal tumbler from his grip, nodding my thanks as I bring it to my lips. It's delicious, refreshing, and has just the right amount of burn. It slides down my throat that I almost forget my troubles for a blissful moment. Thank you. He raises a glass towards me before he takes a sip of his own, humming his approval. I miss being drunk, you know? Just the peace it used to bring me, which wasn't necessarily a good thing, but oh, did I have my fun. His laugh is wistful, and I wonder how long a vampire lives before they begin to forget their human days. I daren't ask him, for I don't want to sour the mood, but one day, maybe. Surely there are ways for you to become inebriated, even if it's not quite the same. Finn shrugs. Sure there is. There are many ways, actually, but the buzz wears off before you can really even enjoy it. Besides, there are other ways to find pleasure. I'm somehow sure you've explored them all. I laugh at the way he wails his brows, his pointed ears twitching alongside them. As he watches me, his smile fades, his dark brows drawn together. Gray, I can't help but notice.
Something plagues you.
He smirks when I raise a single dark brow, almost accusingly, as if it isn't obvious what plagues me. I mean, would you like to discuss? I shrug as if the things that bother me aren't completely earth-shattering. There's so much riding on me, on the decisions I make. I've never expected to carry such a burden in coming here.
You shouldn't have to. It isn't fair, what you've had to endure. But you were the strongest and most capable hunter I've ever had the pleasure of knowing. And I have known many in my time.
He smiles, tilting his head. Onaris is lucky to have you on its side. He drops his gaze to his lap, his brow twitching in a frown. Now, tell me, what do you intend to say to dear Harold when you finally face him? His eyes search my face as if looking for answers I don't know how to give or don't want to give. We will confront him. I ponder my response because, truly, my thoughts are still jumbled, anxiety mounting. But one thing I knew for sure is what Harry is doing is wrong. I'll confront him and expect straight answers. I want to know why he did it.
I just ask that you're careful. No sound-minded man would make the decisions that he has. Of that much I'm sure. You don't know how he'll react to being confronted.
He's right, and somehow the thought hadn't crossed my mind. But Harry cares for August deeply, and they will be by my side. I'm not sure Harry would want to bring harm to August, or even myself. Finn looks at me like I've gone mad.
He's directly responsible for the death of his husband. You and August are just collateral damage at this point. He killed Levi, and that seemed like an impossible feat to me for a very long time. Centuries, even. He's strong.
He had James to help him, didn't he? Finn scoffs, and I can tell his frustration is mounting.
You've seen his face and that pretty scar? He fought Leviathan Casimir, and he lives to tell the tale. And my sire? He's Ash. I spent centuries terrified of him, watching him terrorize whole countries just for fun.
I stare at him at the strange way he almost vibrates. Is it fear, maybe? Something long ingrained in him after the hell his sire put him through, that the mere thought of the man has him shaken like this? Harold Addington put him down in one night with the same ease in which he puts on his boots in the morning. I suppose I should go, then. I don't exactly sound convincing. In fact, I think I'd be quite happy to stay down here and hide away from my responsibilities for a little longer. But I must be responsible, unfortunately. Finn shifts his stand, running a hand through his hair, rubbing his chin. He's twitchy tonight, showing more signs of humanity than I'm used to from him.
I know I said it already, but be careful.
Oh. I smile at him, reaching for the handle of the door. I've thought much bigger, much scarier things than Harold Addington. As the words leave my mouth, I fear a terrible dread washing over me, and Finn notices.
Never underestimate your foe, especially when they have nothing to lose.
Farewell, Hunter. I find August in their office, staring at their desk. It's rife with papers strewn in different stacks, but without its usual method. They look worse than usual, looking despondent, as if they've almost given up being prompt and orderly, but I know that's not the case. August is adept at keeping the flow of reports moving quickly, stickler for punctuality. I tap the door once with my knuckles, and they grant me permission to enter with a lazy nod of their head.
Days like today make me wonder if I should just pack all of this in and run home to my parents with my tail between my legs. Or maybe become a nomad or something.
I know that's not true, but the feed in their tone makes me think they've been like this for some time. I don't think the nomad lifestyle is quite for you, August. You're never on time. They huff a laugh, sighing heavily, uncharacteristically slumped in their chair.
One day, hopefully soon, we'll be free from the shackles of all this corruption. I'll bring order to Lunaris. Or I guess I'll at least die trying. I've never been very good at quitting.
I poke at the seemingly never-ending pile of parchments and take a seat before them, pointedly ignoring their macabre declaration. What is all this anyway? There seems to be more than usual. August shrugs, waving their hand dismissively over the mess.
Take your pick. Reports, complaints, and all of the petty bureaucratic bullshit that Harry usually deals with.
And I so graciously offered to take some of his work off his hands when James passed. Their lips curl into a snarl, their teeth bared, and their next words are almost venomous, distinctly lacking emotion. Aren't I kind? They're tired, frustrated, overworked, and apparently overcome with bitterness. In one way, I'm grateful. Seeing them upset and so downtrodden over Harry, I hated it, but this mood doesn't suit them. I truly long for a day where I see them well rested and appreciated. I just want to know you're going to be okay. You're working yourself to the bone. Another dismissive wave of their hand, and I gather I'm not going to get much more out of them than that. I will be fine, Gray. I have to be, don't I? I watch as they pinch the bridge of their nose, their weak argument not at all convincing. A quiet knock at the door grabs our attention, and a timid junior pokes her head around the frame, awkwardly raising her hand at August. General Willingham? They raise their brow at him, their impatience clear. What? You asked me to let you know when the Lieutenant General returns. Uh-oh! Well, he's in his office. I just saw him. Thank you, recruit. You can go now, and do not tell anyone what I asked of you. I see the heavy bob of their throat and the flush that paints their cheeks as August quickly moves to stand, and with a nod, the boy scurries away. August and I share a look, and I wonder if they're thinking the same as me, that we're not ready. or that we don't want this, scared of what we'll learn, that it'll all become real at long last. August places a trembling hand upon my arm, their eyes wide and bright, and when they speak, there's a sort of manic edge to their words, their voice.
I need to know how you feel about all of this before... I need to know because I cannot make up my mind.
Their crying sprites are killing me. They tighten their grip on me, and for the first time since I've known them, August Willenheim looks scared. I feel something thick in the air, a kinetic shift, an almost suffocating buzz. August, breathe. They exhale sharply, and their aura is distinctly panicked. I place my hand over theirs and feel a shock as their skin meets, but my touch calms them enough for the air to clear, so I relent and don't pull away. Oh. It's okay. It's gonna be okay. No, it's not. It's not. They shake me off, pacing, angry tears trailing their cheeks.
Everything I worked for, everything I've ever stood for. I saw him as my mentor, a man who raised me with a kindness my father would never even dream of showing me.
Was I so blinded by that affection that I didn't see the evil in him? Oh, I don't think he's evil. You didn't know. Again, this is where it's like you kind of want to sympathize a bit, right? Or, you know, and just tell them like, hey, it's gonna be okay, but we won't condemn. It's okay. I shake my head, knowing August is not a bad judge of character. Harry's just good at manipulating or spectacularly talented in disassociation. You weren't to know, August. None of us knew or could possibly dream that it might have been him. They scoff, rolling their eyes.
I followed him about with doe eyes, lapping up any scraps of approval he dared to lavish me with. I've always been desperate to be acknowledged and told I'm doing a good job. He gave that to me in abundance.
I don't believe he realizes what he's doing is wrong, but that doesn't excuse it, and nor does it make you complicit. August laughs at that, maniacal sound.
No one evil ever sees themselves as so. I've encountered it enough to know that much.
Stand in silence for what feels like forever, both of us gathering our thoughts, our courage. This isn't going to be easy or even marginally fun, but shall we... Before I get a chance to finish my sentence, I hear the all too familiar heavy thud of boots in the corridor. And then Lieutenant General... Why is he scarier than the creature? And then Lieutenant General Harold Eddington appears in the doorway, a smile upon his face.
Good evening, both.
Ah! Unconsciously, I find myself tensing, bracing for what's about to come. If only this man was a hunter, someone I could read past the look on his face and basic human cues. If Harry's an evil man, he's adept at hiding it. His smile is kind, even now, and I wonder if he has any idea what situation he's walked himself into. Sir? Harry nods at me, his eyes flickering to August, who is quite visibly distressed and poorly attempting to hide it. Yeah, August got no poker face. They have the worst poker face. I look at them, offering them a clipped smile, hoping it might help them keep it together. It's not going to work, lest we both fall apart. Harry, it's good to see you looking well. Their words are forced. Harry doesn't appear to be planning on staying long, his gauntlet, longsword, and coat remaining in place. Instead, he eyes us both as he crosses the room, stopping in front of the fireplace that flickers
I
invitingly.
have to apologize for my absence. As I'm sure you can imagine, I haven't exactly been in the right frame of mind to hold the whole country on my shoulders, let alone Lunaris.
No, of course, sir.
I'm sure it's been very difficult for you.
They're struggling, and mostly failing to keep the exasperation out of their voice. At this point, I wonder if it's almost easier to tear the bandage off the wound, expose the rotting flesh, as August truly casts a storm upon this building. I step forward, and August stands quickly, their stairs scraping along the marble floor.
Is something wrong, Augustus? You don't look well.
Yes, I want to say. They're falling apart, much like your town, your country. I quickly wade through the dark tangle of emotions that threatens to engulf me, and I clear my throat. We need to talk to you. Harry nods, still poised, still apparently completely clueless. I look to August, and in their no state to initiate this conversation. Their hands are shaking, and I gather we're just seconds away from a messy display of untamed magic. Gray. Harry quickly looks between us, finally focusing on me when he sees that August is a lost
Speak.
cause.
Now. You're beginning to alarm me.
We're aware of what you're doing, of what you've done. The dead hunters, the missing hunters. He blanches, his skin going pale, but he's no fool. And Harry shifts from someone who has just been caught with blood upon their hands to someone painfully in denial in a split
I
second.
don't know what you're talking about. I ordered you to Lunaris to solve this mess, and you stand here and accuse me.
Weren't you the one to tell me to question everything and everyone? August scoffs loudly.
And you will stand here and lie to us so easily.
There goes the magic.
What evidence do you have of the supposed indiscretion you accuse me of?
He says it quickly, defensively, but the words are heavy upon his own tongue. Then I use the most powerful weapon I possess. James. Harry freezes, truly turning pale now, all color draining from his ruddy cheeks, his eyes wide in shock and fear and pain at the utterance of his husband's name. I swear that if I listen closely enough, I can hear the furious pounding of his heartbeat as it tries to tear free from his chest. He swallows thickly, then he laughs. Though it's a manic sound, the laugh of a truly desperate man. You spoke with him again. For the briefest moments, I felt sorry for him, the way he looks at me almost longingly, desperate for even a scrap of information on his dearly departed. It seems selfish that I would be the one James would choose to communicate with. But he was a good man through and through, and he could see through Harry's madness, knew the right things to do. Oh, he loves you still. He wants you to stop, but he still loves you. You gotta tell him. He wanted me to tell you that he loves you.
Even after everything you've done.
I look at August, and they're still seething, their jaw tightly clenched, hands balled into fists at their side. They suck in a breath and drop their gaze from Harry, as if they feel too much shame in looking at him. There's a flash of hope in Harry's eyes, almost as if he's resigned himself to the fact that his beloved had disowned him in death. That James was too kind to forgive him for what he'd done. He stops himself, and there's a shift in the way he stands, the way he holds himself.
It doesn't matter. I have to see this through. I'm so close.
You disappoint me.
August's words are venomous, biting.
Tell us what it is. The blood? The elixir they gave to them when they're merely children.
Harry drags trembling fingers over his face, and in that gesture he could easily be that 20-something enforcer I saw in my dreams. He looks lost. Closes his eyes, and when he next speaks, I can hear a lifetime worth of pain in his voice.
Of course it was. Is. What else could it possibly be? It's always blood, isn't it?
Oh, God.
I am sorry I've hurt you, Augustus. I thought you might understand.
Oh. August bristles at that, and I sense a seismic shift in the way they hold themselves. They angrily swipe the silent tears that streak their cheeks, their magic swirls around their fingers in messy undulations.
I thought you a friend. A father, even. You've killed people. Our people. We swore to protect them as they swore to protect mankind. We're responsible for them. They put their lives in our hands and trust that we will not put them in danger.
I take a step closer, placing myself in front of them, between them.
We take them from their families when they're children and raise them to believe we're giving them the chance to save the world. When all we gave them was a curse, you took advantage of their trust in you. And you sentenced them to die the second you placed that vial in their hands and told them to drink.
Harry watches them with an almost deluded level of disbelief, as if he couldn't possibly imagine August defying him in such a way.
And what of mankind? They'll overrun us one day, sooner than you think.
I place my hand upon August's arm, tugging gently at them as they move a step forward towards him. But August shakes me off.
I'd rather mankind die an honest death, instead of turning into fucking monsters.
They shove a finger in Harry's direction, their cheeks pink with anger.
You are wrong.
Their voices rasp itself, a lost, almost childlike pain threading through their words, harsh enough that Harry flinches. Though his expression is still startlingly cold.
August, do you not see? I wanted us to be on even footing. I came to realize how unfair it is that they hold such an advantage over us. They can do things we could never dream of, and we have these hunters just at our disposal. The untapped potential that lies within them is beyond anything that we can imagine.
Then he turns his gaze to me, and he smiles.
Do you realize what this could mean for you? How much more you could be?
Then he makes an almost arrogant, greedy noise, and that moment I see the Harry that I thought I knew, that August thought they knew, turn to ash, replaced by a man driven mad by frustration and now grief.
Instead of asking, "Am I ready to take on our enemies?" you would think, "There is no stopping me."
Deplorable, unforgivable. We could. No, we will not. Answer for your mistakes. When the initial rust of commingled horror and fury wanes, I clear my throat and address Harry with as much confidence as I can muster. Tell us what you did to them, how you did this, so we know how to undo you. Harry praises me, clearly not impressed with the tone which I give him, but he considers me regardless.
You're curious to know how I made them better? How I can help to even the odds?
I am. Tell me how you made me better. I try and feign interest, hoping to appeal to Harry's arrogance. He might have been driven to desperation, but I can see his tells. He's proud of his idea. He hums a sound of approval and begins.
A hunter is just a vessel, well-trained and disciplined, not always worldly, but refined to kill. We have provided you with nothing but the best tools to take on your target. Even the most meager of whelps are turned into seasoned soldiers. Resilient individuals, remarkable results. However,
He sighs, disappointed.
remarkably uninspiring.
Disgust wells up in my throat at his callous comments. Remarkably uninspiring, you say? The anger I feel is matched in kind with August. Their aura is palpable, the air brimming with electricity. August is no hunter, but they were raised to be the best, conditioned to be nothing but the best. It was practically written at their birth.
I know it's upsetting, but please know I'm not disappointed. We merely mean to uplift you with the initiation. It was crafted to prepare you and protect you. We do not go into the field without knowing the danger, and we all experience loss in some form or another.
His speech cracks for a mere second. I know. I know of the loss he talks about. I've seen it. But is that enough? As quickly as it goes, his posture uprights again.
The elixir is a means to a promising end. It threads together the strengths of our foes without the consequences of their inherently evil nature. By imbibing this, it gives hunters the edge they need.
Harry continues, and he's enchanted with his own words. To be better than them is what he considers a passable means to change us. I wouldn't be surprised if he told us he was disappointed in our human design.
The drawbacks, or curse, as you would so inelegantly put it, is merely an unfortunate side effect of its blessing. Like all science, there is trial and error. I have seen the errors and made strides to correct them.
Just like the Chimera. I think Harry might be irritated with how I plainly lay it out, that I already know, but instead he nods, something like respect crossing his features. As your speculations have led you to believe, yes, the Chimera is such a result. And then his face drops at the name. Clearly, you are perceptive. How much is still a question, but bear in mind that this is a sacrifice for me too.
And why didn't you take it?
August finally finds her voice again, but it's hoarse, venom spilling from every
If
word.
the consequences were so great and you were so desperate, then why didn't you take it upon yourself? Speaking of sacrifices like you count them as your own, but you still used others for your own means.
Playing with creation by his whims and tossing aside the victims as fortunate accidents. How are we expected to believe in your sacrifices when it barely comes across that you understand where we stand? You used us. Harry looks to the both of us this time without remorse, and the scene playing out is unfamiliar. I don't remember Harry looking so scornful.
The sacrifices are my own. The blood is upon my hands, and it is a burden I am willing to carry if it means we can defeat them. I am expected to lead them, to guide them, make sure our path is set straight.
You can reduce yourself to mere tools if you wish, but what I do is for the greater good.
I may not partake in all your battles, but that does not mean I don't lose myself in this war. Besides, I'm not worthy, am I? I'm no hunter after all.
He turns back to me now and raises his chin, staring past his nose at me.
Tell me, hunter, provided you had the choice to find a way to protect the things and people that you love as I have, would you do it?
Would I? The question rattles around in my brain, as do all the other words I have stood witness to, but more quickly than I had thought, my gut responds. If I had a chance to save everyone and those they love, I would. I I would do this. There's a pause, and Harry exhales. His eyes flutter shut, and he smiles with some relief. When he opens them, they're less harsh, more inquisitive to us, as though the three of us had a trivial spat.
Then you understand why this must continue, and, most importantly, why I expect your full cooperation.
Oh, this looks so sad. Oh my god. Alright. Okay, so this also kind of takes you on a different path throughout chapter 9. And this one, we will condemn him, but we will lie. We're gonna play along with his little scheme. Just because I like the nice balance of like angst, but also, you know, gets resolved in the end. So yes, we'll play along, even if it breaks it breaks our friends' hearts for a little bit, but you know what, that's what we gotta do. The look August shoots me is sharp, incredulous, their expression cracking open to reveal a vulnerability I've never seen before. It's beautiful but frightening in its own way. All I can hear them say, no, don't. I hold their gaze, hoping they can see what I'm doing. They trust me. Please. They exhale sharply, their eyes frantically flickering between Harry and I, and then they nod. It's quick enough for Harry to miss because his focus is on me and me alone. I'm the one he wants, the one he needs. Though I know my words are not honest, it still pains me to say them. Yes, I understand. You have my cooperation. Dun dun dun. And we will leave it off there. Thank you so much for joining me. This one's a little bit shorter than they have been in the past, just because chapter 7 is a bit of a shorter chapter, I think, especially if you are not on a romance route through there, so a little bit of a shorter stream this time. But yeah, next time we'll be finishing up the game with chapters 9 and 10, and we will not be doing any of the DLCs, but they are available on there. But yeah, absolutely. Check this out for yourself, see the different choices that you maybe want to make, or see different version events play out and romance some of the characters. I highly encourage you to go check it out. It's on Steam and itch.io under When the Night Comes by Lenars Games. Excellent game. This has been an absolute blast playing through. Thank you so much for joining me, and yeah, we will leave it off there for today. Thank you again, and bye.